In the history of handheld gaming consoles, the Game Boy by Nintendo was revolutionary and is part of a lot of core memories of millions of people around the world. Now, will this model, kindly sent to me by LEGO for review, live up to the expectations it needs to meet? Let's find out. The box is your usual 18 plus style, does mention that you can't expect this to be played with, and highlights in the back what you can expect to find inside. The instruction booklet explains the LEGO model features, but then goes on to tell a bit of the story surrounding the console, and then briefly talks about the two cartridges included in this set, Super Mario Land and Zelda's Link's Awakening. The cartridges themselves are somewhat simple models with printed tiles for the Nintendo Game Boy logo up here, but then has stickers for the game tiles themselves, which I don't mind at all, since the real cartridges would have stickers like these, exactly like these. And putting these models next to my Pokemon game, you can kinda see how incredibly close the scale is, off by just a few millimeters. Below you have these slots in case you need to blow them, so the game works, and if you peel off some of the tiles, you can see that the level of care goes even further, where the pieces used inside try to mimic the circuit boards these used to have back in the day, and notice how the Zelda one has that printed round tile as if it were the battery that would keep your save file alive. Pretty darn cool. Since you have two cartridges, a support exists for you to keep one on display, while the other can be placed on the Game Boy itself, clipped in place and not going anywhere if you move it around. The cartridge support has a slot on its back, and this is also the place for you to keep your extra lenticular screens. 2 out of 3 included in this set, so that your Game Boy screen displays the one you'd like the most. The title screen is my favorite, with a lot more frames to it than what I've known to be possible with these things, while the other two are just 2 frames for each of their respective games. Super Mario jumping to find a star on the first level, while Zelda's one depicts the scene where Link and Marin are talking at the beach. The Game Boy also has a simple display stand, placing it slightly at an angle so you can have it displayed on its own, or then swap the lenticular screens and have them match the cartridge on display, which is really cool. To swap out the lenticular screens, you need to go in the back of the model and remove this new to me 6x8 tile element that is printed, with a nice little Easter egg in there with the release date of the Game Boy. Remove the cartridge, put down this assembly, and then take out the lenticular screen and change it to the one you like most. If it wasn't obvious already just looking at the back of the model, it goes to show the level of detail and craftsmanship that went into this thing, and the front is no different. While I don't have a real Game Boy to compare the LEGO model to, just my Game Boy Color, bringing my caliper out again and taking some measurements tells me this is an almost perfect replica of the real thing, off again by just a few millimeters, and at a distance you will not be able to tell this is a LEGO model. As we look around, every little detail you'd expect to find in the real console is there, and every decoration here is a printed element, which should be the standard for 18 plus LEGO products. It comes at a cost, of course, but more on that later on. The sound speaker slots are one of those prints with a B up there by the edge, and this was all done in another new to me element. The phone's decoration is sitting on a regular 2x4 tile, and looking underneath there's the actual jack hole for the phones. Not functional of course, but doubles up nicely as the spot to keep these on the stand. The select and start prints have the buttons above, recolored tire elements in dark grey, jammed in between these slopes that when pressed do give the feeling of buttons somehow, which is really cool. The A and B button pieces initially felt to me like new elements, but are actually Harry Potter Kingsley Shacklebolt's hat elements recolored in magenta, that when pressed do go up and down. Wow. Next to them there's the D-pad, and you're probably like, there's no way this thing works, but it does, which is insane. Then you have the logo by the screen, the battery indicator, the dot matrix pair of tiles, and a big one for the on-off switch decoration. Looking above, lo and behold, the switch is there, and you can of course switch it on and off. The clicking sound it produces is incredibly satisfying and does sound exactly like the on-off switch of my Game Boy Color, so I'm pretty sure that should also be the same with the actual Game Boy console as well. And then these sides. The contrast decoration has a gear underneath you can turn, a much easier to dissect function than the others I'll be showing later. Then on the opposite side, a similar thing is done for the volume, and next to it, the last decoration of this set next to the Game Link cable port cover. Looks-wise, this thing is flawless. It has a nice weight to it, and it was amazing to put together. Every little piece included is incredibly well thought after, and there simply wasn't any more room to cram anything else in. The D-pad assembly goes above it, and then the tiles that lock this thing in force the 2x2 round tile below in place, so that the crossplate has just enough wiggle room to be played with, so to speak. The buttons assembly trick is a rubber band placed underneath that resets the button's position when you press them down. The buttons themselves are a simple assembly that moves inside of one of those gear block pieces, and just grabbing weird chunks of pieces like these, putting them down in place, and then locking things with other weirdly shaped chunks of parts to slowly drive you towards the finished look of the model was incredibly satisfying. Like the anti-studs technique for the dot matrix section, the screen assembly, or how this inverted slope just slides in there for a perfect match. I think you see where I'm going with this. As a person who values building experience above anything else when it comes to LEGO sets, the Game Boy in that regard has been the best build of the year, hands down. So much so that I totally see myself taking this apart so I can build it again. The level of care and attention to detail achieved by the designer and the design team in this set is outstanding, and it totally shows. Now, there's a lot of factors contributing to the retail price of the product. A bunch of new pieces were done, including some new brackets hidden inside the build. Every single decoration of the set is printed, apart from the cartridge stickers, which needed to be stickers anyways. There's also the 3 lenticular screens and the IP license fees. With all of that said, this 421-piece LEGO model will retail for $60, and while going by price per piece ratio alone would outright have me saying to you this thing is overpriced, considering all of the things I just described, the flawless looks, display value, and godly building experience, to me personally makes it all worth it. This is the kind of set I'd be buying on day one, no questions asked, and I don't buy a lot of LEGO lately. My last purchase was the Super Mario Kart I haven't built yet, so that is saying a lot. The fact that the price is $60 makes this relatively affordable, perfect for gift giving, and within reach to a lot more people than the huge $200 or $30 plus products, which often fail in one aspect or another, whether it's its perceived value, stickers in favor of print, boring builds, too big, too expensive, or lacking detail. To the average consumer, this will be a cool LEGO Game Boy model that will look great on display and bring back some fond memories for those who have played with one many years ago. But for the seasoned LEGO fans who care about a great building experience and are unsure where to spend their hard-earned money next, the Game Boy, for me, even if you don't care about Game Boy at all, is a must-buy for everyone. Pre-orders are available already, and units will start shipping October 1st. Links for purchase in the description if you wish to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.